CMUEagles.com with Central Methodist head women's basketball coach James Arnold, as his team ranked 25th in the nation gets ready to travel to 10th ranked Baker on Saturday for a 2 p.m. tip-off in Baldwin City, Kansas. Coach, each team coming off a loss on Thursday night in league play. Talk about the importance of each team trying to get a win and not drop to 0-2 in league play.
Well, when league play starts, we've talked about it before, it's really tough. And both of us came up on the short end in our openers. Our game, we're struggling with finding some pieces with a player out, and we just didn't have much energy and didn't play particularly well. And you got to credit Missouri Valley for coming out and really taking it to us. But they also had to play their rival, put a lot of energy into it. I think their final score, they ended up losing by 9. I don't think that was indicative of how close that game was. We've just recently begun digging into looking at that game a little bit. Either way, nobody wants to start the year 0-2 in league play. It's going to be awfully challenging then to do so. It's not the end of the world, but it's certainly something that neither us nor Baker want to have happen. We're going to have a tall task to go over there. We're going to have to bounce back significantly from how we played against Missouri Valley. I didn't think our energy was very good. I thought we shot the ball relatively well. We rebounded the ball relatively well, but you could definitely tell that we didn't have anybody step up from the guard position and kind of get us into things. And we had some uncharacteristic turnovers. We made some poor decisions, and just overall just kind of got beat up pretty good. And the second half, or at least the last 10 minutes of the College Ozarks game, and then the 40 minutes against Missouri Valley were very similar in that sense. So it's our job in these practices to make sure we find a way to fix that before going into this matchup with Baker. Baker's very talented. They're 10th in the country for a reason. They lost a couple nice pieces from last year, but they've returned a lot, and they've signed a couple freshmen that can really, really play. So, like I said, it's going to be awfully tough for us, but we have some things that we can do well. This is the same team, our program, that played so well at Columbia, so well at Siena Heights, so well against Tabor. We just got to find a way to bring some energy, effort, and some enthusiasm.
One of the most notable points from last night's Baker loss was the fact that they committed 22 turnovers against Mid-America Nazarene. Your team is very good at forcing turnovers, forcing steals, getting easy buckets on fast break opportunities. Is that something that you hope to exploit on Saturday?
Well, I hope so. The way Baker plays and the way that we play a lot of times offensively lends itself to some turnovers. We've recently had a bit of a plague of turnovers, and with their having some new guards and some new faces, they're turning the ball over a bit more than Coach Lister would like, I'm sure. I think the turnover margin is going to be certainly a large factor for this game, as is making shots and toughness and rebounding and all those statistics. We're going to try to find some ways to create some havoc, try to keep them off balance. The one thing we didn't do against Missouri Valley, or quite frankly in the last 10 minutes against C of O, is we didn't make them uncomfortable at all. They got any shot they wanted, and they were able to make some tough shots when we did force them to take tough shots. So I think the turnover margin is certainly going to play a factor in this game.
As you alluded to earlier, the Wildcats lose reigning HAC Player of the Year Garza and Shoemaker to graduation from last season's team, but they still return a lot of important players and big pieces for their squad. Just touch on some of those players and what they do well.
Well, Christy M is as balanced as they get, and that's one thing. In fact, we've used the term in some of our press releases about some of the kids that we've signed that they're very Baker-like guards, because they can shoot the spot up three and make those shots, but also can take you off the bounce and have some athleticism. What makes them very tough is statistically nothing stands out as them being dominant at one thing, but yet they'll make the open shot at 35-40% clip, and they can also get by you athletically. Christy M sums that up a lot. They came off the bench with kids like Angel Woods, who can do that as a senior. They come off the bench with a lot of other kids that can do that. Macy Walsh is inside, who really took a step forward last year with a big frame, block shots, alter shots inside. Rashida Simpson comes off the bench for them, who would start for nearly every team in the league at the forward spot. They have a lot of pieces. They're very similar to us. Coach Lister and I have very similar backgrounds and very similar beliefs in how to build teams, and he's got a really good one over there. Obviously they won the league last year, went to the Sweet 16 last year, so those kids are used to winning, and they're not going to take it very well that they lost their conference opener when they have lost very few conference games last year.
Each head coach has to be preaching a sense of urgency to their squad to not want to fall to 0-2 in league play. In order for Central Methodist to win Saturday's game, the Eagles must do what?
I mean, we've got to play with some energy. I think that the Benedictine coach Moody, I followed him on Twitter, and Benedictine men last night lost to Peru State, and he said it best that they have to learn to play as the hunter or as the hunted. And I think that's what we need to do. We need to play like the team that's hunted. We got to find a way to play with some urgency, much like we did against Columbia College. That's going to be a part of it, but it's not going to be enough because Baker's very talented. We're going to need to control the boards. We're going to need to put some points on up off of second chance points, which we haven't done a ton of lately. We need to get more than just 12 or 13 free throws a game, which is what we've been doing lately. We need to take better care of the basketball than they do. Now, I'm not going to say, especially without Kyra, that we're in a situation where we can turn the ball over less than 15, 16 times. Well, if we're going to turn it over more than that or that many times, we're going to have to force that on that end. It's going to be a good basketball game. We're very, very talented still. We just got to find a way to kind of regroup, circle the wagons a little bit, and find a way to get a big win against a really nice team on the road.